Cambridge. But it's all business as they attempt to reach the semi-finals of this World Grand Prix. Neil Robertson has got to start favourite on current form. He's looking to reach, remember, his third ranking event final in a row this week. Having won the European Masters, finished runner-up in the German Masters. But he knows all about Joe Perry, and he will not be taking anything for granted as he gets this match underway. It's best of 9 to play either John Higgins or Karen Wilson.
Yeah, good afternoon, David. Good afternoon, everyone. Joe Perry won the toss, actually. Put Neil Robertson into bat. First frame then. I do think, with them being good friends, I tend to think that the lesser ranked player, or the lesser thought of player, being Joe Perry, obviously, I think normally feels comfortable. He's not going to be surprised by anything Neil does this afternoon. He'll be expecting another tip-top performance in the big Aussie.
Yeah, he made 3 centuries yesterday against Mark Williams. And, of course, came here, as I mentioned, in great form, having been in 2 finals. Head-to-head favours Robertson 10-5. Always remember the meeting they had in the Wuxi Classic final 2014. At that stage, Perry hadn't won a ranking title. Neil Robertson spent all day blocking out the fact they were friends. He beat Joe 10-9, and in the end, Robertson, the winner, was in floods of tears, and that was because he denied his pal a title. But the key thing there is that he blocked it out until after the match.
Yeah, just try and pot this, screw the cue ball into the corner and safety off a bulk colour.
1.
Quite get hold of the cue ball. Good pot.
Yellow ball. Thank you. Neil Robertson 1.
Joe's going to be interested in that red to the extreme left if he chooses to play a safety shot. Is he interested? Concerned about leaving it for Neil. He's already eyeballed it twice, so that dictates that he's going to take the long red on. Deep screw it above the left middle pocket. Funny sometimes that you play a shot because of that other red, simple as that, but for the red in the left. And probably against lesser opponents, he would have played the safety shot and left the tempter.
1.
Robertson's 61st ranking event quarter-final. He was introduced as Australia's greatest ever player. He's the greatest ever non-British player. When you look at the achievements he's had, of course, winning what are known as the big three, the World, UK and Masters, but plenty more besides. 17 ranking titles. He's been world #1. Of course, had a season where he made over 100 centuries. And he comes here to Cheltenham feeling really good about his game. And it won't have escaped his attention that some of the real pre-tournament rivals, Trump, O'Sullivan in particular, are out. So a real chance here this week for another title.
Eight.
Well, this certainly freed the black. This is a big shot, this green to the middle. Yeah, he had to get it because he's always playing for the Reds. So having opened things up, he's missed that green. And Joe Perry can benefit.
One.
Not sure about the path of the cue ball. He's looking at the green as an option. He might be worried about the yellow. Just to avoid it, but well, perhaps the red 2 away from the pink and the left there. Perhaps that goes. But it's tight, as you see there.
Joe Perry 6.
Having left the red, expect Neil to knock this in. He's going to have to trust to luck. Position. The right one of those two reds, obviously. Don't think the black would then go, would it? Just looking at that. So either avoid a cannon on reds or catch one half ball and try and spring the cue ball up somewhere around the blue line. Now, see it there, it actually will. So that helps. Wonder if he'll be brave enough, because the black goes, wonder if he'll be brave enough to play this at a controlled pace. No, it was digging down.
One.
That'll do. That'll do very nicely, thank you. And getting the black spot in the open.
A few years ago, Stephen Hendry gave Neil Robertson some quite blunt advice about his break
6.
building. He thought it was a bit amateurish, and rather than take offence, Neil Robertson took it on board. It is Stephen Hendry, after all, and tried to work on cue ball control rather than just relying on being a good potter. Of course, he went on to make the 103 centuries in a season. He's already had 51 this season,
7.
including 3 yesterday. It's true that sometimes off the table he can be a little bit lax in terms of preparation, but when he gets out there, his focus and concentration is as good as anyone's.
Yeah, it's all right. Put it back. Yeah, I'll do it. 14. 15. 22.
Well, if he decides to play for black, at least the pink's on as well, so that might help.
23.
Didn't get over ambitious with it. Quite tricky early on, these blacks, and on the rails. Well played.
$30. 31.
Green looks the shot. Play for a couple of reds if he wishes. Yeah, he shouldn't have a problem if he drops a blue in the mid-distance red, but the question is this green easier than the next red would be if he played the blue? Which it is. Yeah, green's a shot. Not out the woods yet, though. Looks like caught the bump of the
34.
middle pocket. Probably wishes now he did play the blue. Quite tricky, this little shot. Negotiate those two reds. It's the sort of shot you want to punch in, spin the cue ball round the corner. So he just has to avoid a couple of reds. No, that's not the way he wanted to play
Neil
it.
Robertson, 34.
So just found trouble there. 37 in the frame. Still plenty on.
Big shot, this. If he gets it, he'll at very least get himself back in the frame with a good chance to perhaps win it. Well played.
He's been playing well this season, Perry. He's 11th on the one-year list, 10th if he wins today, so looking very good for the Players' Championship, and with a chance of getting in that Tour Championship, which of course is for the top 8 for the season.
8.
We talk about the class of 92. We normally refer to John Higgins, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Williams, who all turned professional in 1992. Joe Perry was also there among all the young hopefuls.
9.
And although most have fallen away, he's still going strong.
He'd be a bit disappointed with that. He wanted the red nearest the pocket first, because when he pots it next time, he's not guaranteed
15.
to get nice on the black. Having come short on the blue, he's given himself another problem. Joe is clever. See, he's leaving the cue ball there because at least if he plays it this way, half ball, playing for pink or blue, he'll be playing for pink, and if you overcook it, you've got top side of blue.
21.
Well played. Yeah, that was a good pattern. Chose there, Joe Perry. He's always been this way, neat and tidy, but
27.
most of all and best of all, he's efficient with it.
So it looks like it's going to be now about getting on the yellow, ideally.
28. $35.
It'll bring him level in the frame.
$37.
So needs up turn, including the pink. Neil Robertson made the early running in this frame. Joe Perry, he's putting together a very impressive break, though. He just needs to continue for 4 more balls, and he'll have won the first frame.
40. $44. $49.
It's Neil Robertson who learnt from Joe Perry when he first came over to Britain, so Perry has no reason to be in awe of him. That pink just struggled in, but it's in, and it was all he needed. There goes the black as well. Very good break, that 62. Neil Robertson had a good chance, broke down. Joe Perry stepped in, and he takes the first frame of this quarter-final. 5 frames needed to reach the semis here in Cheltenham. frame there. That could be a very tight match. Two very determined campaigners. Of course, whoever wins that one, as you can see, there's just 19 in it. Whoever wins that one plays, of course, Robertson or Perry. So Higgins with the early advantage, but a bit of a way to go in that frame.
Thank you. The second frame. Joe Perry to break.
Joe Perry made that good 62 clearance. The pink actually was frame ball. It sort of wobbled a little, but it went in. That's all that matters. He's won the frame. It was a good break as he gets frame 2 underway. Interestingly, in his first 2 matches against both Ali Carter and Scott Donaldson, both times he led 3-0. Both times they came back to 3-2, and then both times he won a close 6th frame. So he's been starting matches well, then things have been getting a bit sticky.
One.
Oh, look at this for a pot. They couldn't avoid leaving a few reds. Sign of supreme confidence. It wasn't the best shot he's ever played.
8.
Sorry, my mistake. Pink spot. Yeah, it's almost a symptom that of the modern game, that long red. You can almost play too good a shot, too good a safety at times against this quality of opposition. There's nothing you can do about it because you're trying to put the guy in trouble. They're so good, so accurate with a long game. Play a good shot, you can be sitting down for a while.
$15. Thanks, Neil.
I know that Neil Robertson is a player who's always looking to learn
16.
and improve, doesn't rest on his laurels. He quite often will watch his matches back. He listens to what people say about his game, and as I say, he's open to taking criticism rather than, you know, winning a couple of tournaments as he did when he was young. He could have just thought, okay, I've made it now, but he's always looking
23.
for a couple percentage points more, I guess, in his game.
24.
Yeah, he said in the studio, didn't he, yesterday, that he watches all of his matches back, which no bad thing, you say, David. It also shows, you said, dedication, because, you know, matches generally take a couple of hours, sometimes 3 or 4.
32.
Go back and watch them. It shows dedication to his craft. Now, he's just not quite as played there. I don't think he can nip this cue ball without playing a cannon. The red 2 up from the black, he could cannon that, but it's going to stop against the pack, so might feel that he's going to have to go deep with pace. Now, trying to hold for the one to left middle, but wasn't easy. It was the best he could do.
39.
And once again, he's got to get very deep into the cue ball. Not with pace. Playing for pink and black. All about the pot, guaranteed position.
40.
Not ideal unless he's got a plant at the bottom. Plant to left corner. Having a look now. I actually think that might be on, you know. Offset. You're not interested in it.
$46.
That's where he's so good, isn't it? Mid-range. Getting over the disappointment of half running out of position. So good at recycling a break. Nice angle now. But the pink being separated from the reds, it means he's got to be accurate. Catch this pink just in the right half as we see it.
Foul. Neil Robertson, 47. Joe Perry, 5.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult to avoid contact in the pack there. So thin on the blue. I think in some ways, actually, that first frame was the perfect start for Joe Perry. Trailing and doing a nice clearance. Well, trailing again here with 42, but next chance, where the reds are. That's a worse shot he's played. No wonder he's got a frown there, Joe. Looks a bit mystified by that because he knows what's coming. This Tiger Red's bread and butter. Neil Robertson.
1.
Well, no wonder he was, as you say, frowning at this one. Yeah, not happy. And neither's Robertson.
3. 4.
It's the problem when you lose ideal position, it just gets harder and harder. And he's
Foul.
broken down again. Same
Neil Robertson,
pocket.
4. Joe Perry, 5.
That all seemed to go wrong very quickly. You saw Perry's reaction to leaving him in. I'm sure he thought that was 1 each coming up. As it is, he's only 41 behind with a red to go at.
One. Five.
Joe will know better than us. Those 2 reds, they do look like a plant. The 2 reds are virtually touching, so it's makeable. No, he's taken his eye off the pot.
Joe Perry, 5.
And he's left that plant. We're going to find out whether it's on. Set to the left jaw as we see it there. And with him being so close. Yeah. It's still effectively an offset plant, but he's got to hit the high part of the red. That other one's just in the way. So probably because he's got a 36-point lead would be the reason he wouldn't play it. Doesn't want to leave a gift for Joe.
No, it's not touching Joe. Cheers. Thank you.
That's twice he's got a safety. Thick this time. He gets half a result. Flick off the pink. That's something to keep an eye on. So you get days like that where play those safeties, for whatever reason you're not seeing it properly, not cueing it properly, and you're hitting them thick. You'll have to adjust to that. Oh, ho, ho.
One.
Trademark long red. He's got almost the exact same green that he had in frame 1 here, doesn't he? Cue ball's a wee bit further off the cushion. He missed it to the right jaw, as we'll see it. And this time he's got it.
Cue ball's kept on running though. It's not the most straightforward of frames, this, is it, for the Aussie?
Yeah, I was saying the right jaw there. Of course, the right jaw from where we've seen the last one. But I'm not actually sure, but it looks to me like there's a new cloth on the table. I'm not actually sure about that. The cushions are playing a wee bit softer, but the bed's slick.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. And that looks like a frame winner. Yeah, we've had to confirm that the tables were reclothed. Robertson's played both his matches on this table. Now, you'd think that would be an advantage, but of course that was with the old cloth. So he's come
12.
out today and he's experiencing slightly different conditions. He looked a bit bemused at times.
30.
But it looks like this frame is going his way. Snooker's already required. This pink should secure it once and for all. Yeah, Perry's played his 2 matches actually on the other table.
90. 20.
May seem an obvious thing to say, but it helps if you're a great potter at this game, because you can recover if you're not in ideal position. You can get yourself in, as Robertson's been doing, and despite a few slip-ups, he's going to have levelled the match.
27. 28.
Yeah, the first 2 reds of this contribution were incredible, especially that second one.
35. 37. 40. Thanks, Neil. Neil Robertson.
Yeah, some
and the frame.
really good potting along the way from Robertson. A few mistakes from Joe Perry. And it means we're all square here in this quarter-final at the World Grand Prix in Cheltenham. Neil Robertson and Joe Perry level 1 each.
More evidence there, actually, the soft cushions of the new cloth. That's something I want to harp on about, but it does play its part. And I think as the match goes on, the players will settle into that. It always takes a wee bit of adjusting, having played a couple of matches each in the old cloth and in the practice room. Last 4 or 5 days. See, soft cushion, this type of shot, you want to play it with a wee bit extra pace. See if he does. Not bad. Just caught it a wee bit thin. Yeah, interested in the left-hand wing ball. The red nearest the black, it probably doesn't go to that right corner. That would be why he would take this on. Looking at the double, Joe, it's just whether he can convince himself of whether he can get close to it. Doesn't look like he'd be leaving any reds on. Obviously, the line's not right, so long red, leave the cue ball near the left middle. Just one of those matches, isn't it? It's not caught fire yet. A few mistakes by both players.
One.
Yeah, Robertson's produced so many terrific performances of late, not least yesterday, of course, but it's hard to keep playing that well. I mean, he had 3 centuries in the 4 frames he won yesterday, so that's some standard to try and replicate. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, he won a final 9-0, ranking final against Shou Yulong in Austria. And the impressive thing about that was, at no point did he let up, 6-7-0 in front. He wasn't interested in showboating or any of that. He wanted to win 9-0.
6.
Only the second player to do that in a 2-session ranking final. Steve Davis was the other. Just over 30 years ago.
$11.
Not for the first time this afternoon. He's having problems controlling his cue ball, which is unusual. Maybe a risky brush cannon off one of those 2 reds here. Yeah, he was never certain
12.
of anything. He's got a long blue. The question now of how much does he fancy it?
12.
Well, there's the answer. Just crunches it in.
70.
Long pot stats good so far. 5 out of 6 for Robertson.
80.
Robertson up to number 2 in the world, although you need a pair of binoculars to see Judd Trump, who's well out in front in first place.
25. 26.
On the 1 year list, he's 5th, so looking good for that Tour Championship in Llandudno next month. Of course, he was runner-up there last year to Ronnie O'Sullivan,
33.
who, as we know, is struggling now to get in that event, and indeed the next one, the Players.
34.
Almost seems now like that blue has been the little spark of inspiration that he's been looking for this afternoon. Trying to get that rhythm going. Almost the way he potted that blue. After it probably thinks just a jolt, a little reminder to him. Oh, yeah, I'm playing well.
42. Thanks, Tom.
Phone just going off. That's not been much of an issue though this week, thankfully.
$50.
He's like at getting in and out of ball, but this isn't straightforward. There's no reds on really to right corner. Playing the standard shot, the screw shot in between yellow and brown. He'd struggle to get on a red playing that. He's playing it though, going deep. Yeah, have to settle for a more half ball red, but played
55.
it as well as he could have.
$56. $61. $62.
So that early long blue certainly a key shot in this frame, and as Alan says, he's got a bit of a spring in his step now. This black, Joe Perry needs a snooker. So Robertson's come to life here. This is his highest break of the day so far.
70.
Only 3 players have made more than 700 centuries in their career. Ronnie O'Sullivan,
77.
John Higgins and Stephen Hendry. Robertson's on
78.
6.93 for his career, so he's edging closer to joining that very, very elite group.
$85. $86.
Could be annoyed.
Robertson.
He got the cannon,
86
he just
on
didn't
the
pop the
frame.
black, so no century. He looks disappointed despite a very good 86. He wanted more, but the main thing is he has won the frame, and having lost the opener, he leads Joe.
Thank you, the 4th frame. Joe Perry to break.
Robertson made 86, was very disappointed to miss that black though with the chance for the century.
It's a start that's a bit concerning at the minute. Joe Perry and his supporters, 80% pot success. That won't get the job done. It will improve though. Oh, my word, what a shot. That was as good as the one to the other corner. This match this afternoon, leaving reds again. No thought of missing it.
Eight. Nine. $16. $17.
Well, that one wasn't quite so clean. Just had a little wobble before dropping.
$24. $25. $30. $31. Just give me a sec, please, Neil.
Referee Rob Spencer just asking for a moment to sort this pink out. Yeah, he refereed the German Masters final that Robertson played in last weekend at the Tempodrome in Berlin against Judd Trump. That was some occasion. Over 2,500 people packed in.
37.
Rob himself got to do a walk-on, usually reserved for the players.
38.
Robertson's continuing that good form that he's shown in the new year. It's a bit of a treadmill he's on. He defends his Welsh Open title next week. Starts on Monday in Cardiff.
$45. 46.
He's just taken control, hasn't he? And he looks confident now. He got to grips with the table as well. Joe Perry's not volleyed the ball for 25.5 minutes.
53.
Yeah, been frozen out. Session interval coming up after this frame. Neil goes on to win it at this visit. Pretty sure Joe will make his way to the practice room to get the blood flowing in the Q arm. Looking more like the player that dismantled Mark Williams yesterday. Beautiful little shot that with a bit of run inside
59.
to help the cue ball round the corner.
$60.
We've had 25 centuries in the tournament so far. The sponsors, Coral, are giving £100 for every century to the Jessie May Children's Hospice, which is World Snooker's official charity.
68.
And the highest so far, 138, Judd Trump. Robertson can beat that here. Frame already should be his, with a couple of snookers already needed. Now, he was annoyed, wasn't he, last frame, not to make the ton.
76.
It's been a bit of an onslaught, as you can see. 208 points without reply.
$83.
He's determined to make this century.
Possible 1-4-1, but be hard pushed. The way the Reds are, but
90.
he played for both Reds and he's got both of them.
$91. Cheers, thanks. $97.
Moved to Cambridge all those years ago with just 500 quid. Joe Perry gave him a lot of help in his early years. But when you're out there in the middle, it's down to you to do the business.
Cheers.
And that's what Neil Robertson
98.
has done time and time again over the last 15 years. So this black, and he goes to the interval with a century under his belt. Firmly in control of this quarter-final.
105.
Can he set a new high break target? He's asking the ref to think what it is. The answer's 138.
I can find out if you want. 138. Yeah.
Joe Perry very helpfully is telling him what it is. Worth 10 grand.
106.
Yeah, Judd Trump at the top of the list at the moment. When Ronnie made his 1000th century in Preston,
113.
he went in off at the end, didn't he? And that actually meant Neil won the high break, which he immediately clocked. Despite all the standing ovations and everything, he was in the money himself.
Yeah, there's been a marked improvement, hasn't there, after the first couple of frames in his cue ball, Neil, especially the way he took these last 3 reds of this fantastic break.
122.
Quickly adjusted to the new cloth, new speed, new reaction.
127.
Yeah, terrific stuff. Sends him to the dressing room feeling really good.
133.
And giving Joe Perry plenty to think about. 31 minutes since Perry spotted a ball in this match. So the highest break of the tournament just underlines how well Neil Robertson is playing. He had 3 centuries yesterday against Mark Williams. He goes to the interval with 1.
So then back to the match we've been concentrating on all afternoon, and I must say I've been so impressed with Neil Robertson. Some of the pots he's knocked in have been absolutely world class. We keep expecting him to hit a roadblock, as it were, because he's been playing so well for 3 weeks now, but there's no sign of fatigue, no sign his golden run is coming to an end. What a formidable task it is for Joe Perry. Not just the fact he's 3-1 down, but he knows he's playing someone in prime form. Look at the pot success rate from distance, 86 from Robertson. That is dynamite. Can't really afford to take risks, Perry, because he knows if he makes mistakes, Robertson will pounce. The applause is for the end of the 3rd frame over on the other table, as we suspected when we dipped in there. Kyron Wilson won it, so he trails 2-1. In the first half of the match, I was sitting up there in the media centre with a couple of very nice ladies from the Jessie May Children's Hospice at Home charity, and they were delighted to see Robertson make that century. Because, of course, Coral, very generously, the tournament sponsors, are giving £100 to the Jessie May charity for every century made in the tournament. And we've already seen more in this year's event than last year's in its entirety. 26 in total.
Well, all the rate building, that 140, all the long potting. That was a magnificent safety shot as well there from Neil Robertson. Left-hand side, check side. To create the path for the cue ball. Tighten the baulk cushion. Well, that was a far easier safety shot, but completely mishit it. Hit the original red far too thin. Has he done any damage? Doesn't look like it. Joe would have been down already if there was a pot on.
One.
Well, a little morale booster.
Yeah, you just never know how intervals can affect matches. If there was no interval there, you're pretty confident that Neil Robertson would continue in that vein of form, the scoring form, and probably run away with this match. But the interval can break up your focus a little bit.
5.
The red that's touching the pink, you can play that and then stun for the pink to the right middle.
6.
At the recent European Masters in Dornbirn in Austria, for the first time they trialled an idea where they played best of 9 but had no interval. I can't ever recall that before.
Nice pop to the far right corner. Didn't play the cannon
12.
on the first red, the original red beside the pink. The way he wanted, that's why I had to play the pink up to the corner.
The referee, Rob Spencer. Really good lad, Rob.
30. $19. 20.
This is the kind of instance that he's not even bothered. The black's not in its spot. It's actually break building from the pink when it's in this situation, available to all 4 pockets, 2 middles and 2 corners, is actually easier. Gives you many more options.
26. $27.
That was careless. He's just let that cue ball. It may have looked nothing, but he's just let that cue ball run an inch the wrong way. You've just seen him stop in his tracks once he played it. He wanted to play for the red closest to the cue ball. He still had reds to play for, but it wasn't his intended red that he's on now.
33. $34.
You see when Joe addresses the cue ball, he always addresses it very, very low. The tip of the cue's almost touching the cloth on the table. It's just a characteristic of Joe's. Jimmy White's very similar.
There was a player from a bygone era who used to do that. A guy called Paddy Morgan from Northern Ireland who went to live in Australia and actually represented Australia in the World Cup. Individual traits.
$40. $41.
And talking about a bygone era, in many respects, I think Joe Perry plays something of an old-fashioned game, cajoling, coaxing, manoeuvring the balls around. Oh, but he didn't coax the
Joe
pink.
Perry. 41.
Well, when you're playing someone who's playing as well as Neil Robertson, unforced errors, easy misses like that, well, you just can't afford them. Joe knows it, sat in his chair.
One.
If you have to put any real pressure on Neil Robertson the way he's playing, you have to win frames in one visit. Okay, winning frames in 2 or 3 bits and pieces is okay, but it doesn't really put any pressure on your opponent. Because all that means is they think they're going to get chances. But if you're putting away frames in one visit, then that really does put doubt in your opponent's mind.
7.
At the moment, there's just no negative thoughts in Neil Robertson's mind, the way he's playing.
$8.
You've been in that zone, Stephen. I remember one UK Championship final against Ken Doherty. You were 6-5 up, having made 6 centuries. Another first session of a UK Championship semi-final against John Parrott, where you made 5 centuries. It must be, that zone, a great place to be.
Yeah, it's just, the game is just so easy. And every opportunity you get, whether it looks like a half chance, you just fancy clearing up every time. it doesn't always work out like that, and you've got to try
40.
and make hay while the sun shines, as it were. But Neil's at that point at the moment where he just comes to the table and just doesn't see problems. If it's difficult, they're a challenge, they're not a problem. He's also got that strut round the table when he's playing well. That can be intimidating on its own.
$20. 22. 28. 29.
That little shot there. Okay, to professional snooker players, it's not that difficult a shot, but didn't waste any time thinking about it. Just got down, and you seen the cue ball when it hit the second cushion, the baulk cushion. It just had that little bit of run inside, just to widen the angle. Perfectly on the yellow.
30.
Bit short in pace on this one, but watch the cue ball when it hits the baulk cushion. Not this one.
20.
And watch the side now. Beautiful.
$32.
Again, beautifully controlled. Found the gap between that first red and the black. Touch of right-hand side again. He's just got that cue ball dancing around the table at the moment. Could play a similar shot here. Just play the cue ball into an area. Well, he's played for the single red. I thought he may screw the cue ball back to the left side cushion. He would have a choice of both reds.
37.
He could play the cannon on the other red here and pot on this. Knock the red into open play. Leave himself on black or pink.
$38.
I'm sure he played it, but just didn't get into the cue ball enough. Now he's got a little problem here, because where he's put the black, there's a bit of stretch in there. I don't know if he's tweaked something, but where he's put the black, it's just made this shot a little bit awkward. He's definitely playing the cannon on the red, but he just hasn't gotten to the cue ball. He's just got to find that gap in between pink and black. Side. Not far enough. Wanted it to the right middle, but it does go to the green
43.
pocket.
Neil Robertson.
He's playing so well,
43.
it's unexpected when he misses even a tough ball like that. Now Perry really does have to capitalise here.
1.
You can see the frustration from Joe there. Safety shot now.
Black ball. Joe Perry 1.
And frankly, not the best safety either. Just called it totally incorrectly.
Well, it wasn't going to be a snooker, I don't think, until the yellow just caught the jaw of the middle pocket. So not a problem to hit the yellow. And getting it safe is the issue.
The pot's onto middle. The angle down to the green is there as well. That's another thing that happens when you're in the zone. Everything's rosy.
2.
Let me quickly tell you, Corin Wilson is back on level terms at the interval with John Higgins. 2-2. Higgins made 48 to start off frame 4. Broke down. Wilson replied with 89.
Five.
Straight is no good, because I don't think the blue goes in the left middle pocket. So if he's dead straight, he's going to have to leave a long blue to the left corner.
9.
Played for the blue into the yellow pocket. He's not come far enough. So a little careless shot from the green there. Just needs this.
Neil Robertson,
So a
9.
let off for Joe Perry. Yeah, just underscrewed this by about a foot, actually. I think the double kiss actually helped Joe there. I think he was going to leave a pot to right corner without it. Just a containing safety shot from Joe Perry, just making sure he got the blue safe. That's the priority. It's turned out he's not left Neil an easy return. It's just that awkward angle in the blue. He may just dolly the blue onto the baulk cushion here. Now Joe can play a more positive safety shot.
pacey. And really, from where he was, should have been better. Approaching its 24th minute, this frame, so the lengthiest of the match so far. You have to say, also the most important.
Yeah, the reason Joe had to hit that in such pace that he had to get the cue ball in and out of bulk for position on the pink. He has left a pot to the yellow pocket. It's not easy. That's why Neil has not even entertained it. Instead, trying to play a decent safety shot. And that's pretty decent.
This is not a gimme, but it's a source of extreme concern for Perry. Head scratcher.
Five.
Really, the way he's playing it was a gimme. Not a gimme for most folk.
11 frame. Neil Robertson.
Robertson is rampant. He's making Joe look ordinary. 4-1. Winning them,
Joe Perry to break.
for most of the time, winning them with something to spare. That template is continuing this afternoon, it seems, because he leads Joe Perry 4-1. One frame away from a place in his third consecutive ranking event semi-final.
Poor break off from Joe. Seven out of 10 today. Neil Robertson, 70% long pot success, which is pretty good actually. Wry smile. That's the way it's gone today, I'm afraid. He was playing that shot, expecting, should he miss it, for the red to rattle and go along the black cushion. Now is he just pummeling the cue ball into the bunch here? No, I'm going to try and screw around the back of the black, but
1.
may have a very difficult pink to right middle. These are tough. Cancel that. These are easy.
That was a, I'm leading 4-1, I'm in the form of my life
7.
kind of result. Wow.
8.
Big target. The bunch, there's no pink there. those 3 reds at the top of the bunch. Screw into, well, if you can somehow screw into, arc the cue ball into the middle one. Just don't put a red, as we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan do last night. Not the best result. Didn't go into them with as much pace as I thought he might.
Not a bad kiss there, mind you. Blue cushioning the blow, as it were, holding the white in the middle of the table, which is not lost on Joe. Could be a significant result, this, for Robertson. I think if he were to win this match, he'd be bang on course
70
for the Tour Championship. The Players' Championship is already absolutely guaranteed. And you can rest assured he wants to be at both.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a big-time player. He enjoys winning the big events. You can see by the crown on his waistcoat, which indicates that he's won all the Triple Crown events. But this Coral Series is definitely something that he'll have on his bucket list.
$26. $27.
Another side issue, of course, over the weekend is the winner of this will earn a place in this year's, next season's Champion of Champions. Mind you, that's not a concern for Neil Robertson. As the defending champion, he will be there, and he's qualified also as the European Masters champion.
That was a fabulous shot there from the brown. Made it look, again, made it look easy. Just excellent cueing. Stunned with a, well, it's excellent cueing, but he's actually hit the wrong red there.
Foul. Neil Robertson, 31. Joe Perry, 4.
And you'll watch this. He hits the other red. That's why the other red moves. I wasn't planning that. So maybe a small reprieve for Joe Perry.
Take the red off, does it? . 1.
Not out of the woods yet. Decent long red. This pink from underneath the cushion. Certainly no gimme. Especially when you're 4-1 behind. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Joe Perry 1.
As he got down to that, all he could see was the road signs back to Chatteris. Lengthy cross-country journey awaits for Perry, it would seem.
Yeah, the body language would suggest that he's a beaten man. Robertson just has to, well, dot the I's and cross the T's, as it were.
1.
I'll tell you what, though, Stephen, having lost 6-5 to Stephen Maguire at the Masters from 5-1 up, you can put it in the bank that he won't be dropping his guard.
Eight. 9. 16. 17. 24. 25.
So, Joe Perry needs a snooker. This black would just cement the victory. Apart from the 140, it's not as sparkling a performance as perhaps yesterday against Mark Williams, but still, if you look at the stats, very, very
32.
impressive from Neil Robertson today. He definitely looks to be the man to beat now in this tournament.
Yes, it was those 3 frames just before the interval that worked wonders for Robertson. 266 points with that reply he scored there. Had a 94% pot success rate.
40.
And it meant that Perry re-emerged from the break with a mountainous task.
41. Neil Robertson, 41.
There it is. Neil Robertson is through with minimum fuss. He defeats Joe Perry by 5 frames to 1 and now waits the winner of Kyron Wilson against John Higgins. And we'll see action from that match